Hi folks, Handyman Keith here. I'm going to talk to you about how to install the Fortress railing system and some of the techniques that I used. Probably will save you a lot of time. The first thing you got to do is decide where to locate the post, or where to start with the post. And you might be tempted to start at a corner or start at the house or something, but you need to start right at the staircase. And so let's look at the ones that I put in. And the first question is, how far back do they go? And what I decided to do was to go back to the center of the header. So I have a 1/2 inch overhang, I have a 1/2 inch of fascia, and then the header. So for me, that worked out to be about 1.75 inches with this first bolt here. Okay, so you take that back 1.75 inches, and then you just let the other ones be what they are. You should have blocking up under here, so these back bolts will screw into the blocking. I used some of these, which are headlocks, or something very similar to this. These happen to have a head on top that looks like this. They're very long, so they can go down into the header about 4 inches or 4.5 inches. And these happen to have a screw on top, 8mm screw, which makes them easy to screw in. So that's the first thing you do. Now, as you're screwing it down, you need to get the post level. And the way you get it level is you tighten down on the 4 flange bolts. And it's an iterative process. As you tighten, the post will shift. So you want to tighten it up and make sure that you keep it level on both sides as you go down. And that should take care of that. Now, once you do that, you then need to put one down in the bottom, or put the bottom post in. Well, one thing I need to talk about before we leave up here. If you go too far back with this post here, let's say you want to bring it back towards this direction, that also will increase where this bottom rail hits on the post here. And same thing with it up top here. So if you go too far back, this rail begins to ride up higher on here. So again, I think a 1 3/4 worked good for this location. And that's true for everything up top here, 1 3/4. Now, down at the bottom, let's go down there. I did not go that far, or actually I went further back than that, just because of it made the offset work out good. Now, if I had, let's say if I had moved this down here to 1 3/4, then that would have made this post ride down lower, and I really have about all the posts showing up here I wanted. So I would say about halfway, or maybe a little less than halfway back from the edge gives it a good look. Alright, so now once you got the bottom post set, got that taken care of, you got the top post set, you then need to work on the middle post. So the way to do that is to run a string from the top to the bottom, and that line will set where this post needs to be. And it also needs to be set in the middle of the step, okay, from here to here, in order to get a good rail line. See how this rail line is kind of just runs right through the post? You can see it up there. That's what you want. And to do that, you need to put this post right in the middle. So this is 10.5. So half of that is 5 1/4, and that becomes the center line from here to the center line of the post, 5 1/4. It goes in on the blocking, which is in there. And then on the outside, that's where the center of the stringer is. So that's how that comes together. All right. So now you got your post up, you got good aligned, the posts are aligned straight. The next piece is to put up the railings, and this you have to be, you can't rush this piece of it. What you want to do with this, or what I did that seemed to work well, is I took a block, a 4x4 block, I put it about an inch or so back, and I did that on the lower end next to this post, and then again up next to that post. Alright, so that set what I wanted to put the railing onto, and that controls the distance from the lower part of the railing to the steps. Now, the next step is to work with these collar brackets. So you gotta get those installed. Now, you might think, well, you just cut them off parallel, but if you did that, you really messed up. This lower one here, this distance here, is going to be longer than this distance here, okay? So what you need to do is put this lower bracket in, okay? Well, I'll tell you what, before you even get there, once you set the rail with the 4x4s, go ahead and clamp it to the post at all four corners. I use these DeWalt clamps, have a soft face on them. Probably want to use some cardboard, make sure you don't tear up your paint job. Then once you get it to that point, you then need to mount the collar brackets where they should be. So how do you know where they should be? Well, I have a piece of railing here that we'll demonstrate with. So what I would do is cut as far back on the lower one as you can before you hit the next rail, okay? Or if it's the end, just make sure you use the full end down here, and then you can cut up top here, okay? Once you get it all lined up. So another tip is not to try to do all four collar brackets at one time. Do them individually, because I can assure you, as you put this thing up, it's going to shift, and you're going to get different points to attach the collar brackets from as it takes its final position. Alright, so you do that here, and then you go up top. Same thing. Now the collar brackets themselves, the way you have to get those loose is this little bolt has to come out, okay? And then that will allow you to install this piece of the bracket. Once you get that in, then you have to put this top on, put the whole railing back up, and then put the bolt through. So it's an iterative process. You do one, make sure you get it right and where it is and that they'll fit. Then you do another one, make sure you get it right and it'll fit, and then you just work around. So it's a lot of fitting, and it's fiddly, but that will give you a good result. And so when you finish, what you want to make sure that as you're tacking it up, that this rail right here is parallel to the post. That gives it a nice finished look. And so that's how that's done. Now, as far as the other rails, let's go up top and take a look at those. Again, you would put the 4x4s under the railing to set the height to the deck. So that would be this location right here. Put a 4x4 here, a 4x4 there, and then get the span and set it up here, align it, see how it looks. Now, as you're going through this, you want to keep the spans equal on each side of the post. In other words, you look here, see that length is pretty much equal to that length. You don't want one of those real big and one real small. And if you go down here to this corner, you can see that came out pretty good. So as you're putting it up, as you're lining it up, make sure you're keeping awareness of that. These brackets go up a little bit differently. You don't deal with the angle. So what you'll do is you'll mark it. I like to just put one in first, slide the bracket on, and then after you get your hole drilled, use a cobalt drill. They work really good, and a center punch, and create the hole. This long extension I've got on the impact tool allows you to work right up close to it, and just like that, and that will allow you to tighten it up. And I think that's about all I've got to cover with you. I've got the LED lights up and on, so there's another video. These are 120 volt LED lights. I got another video shows kind of the technique I use for that. Alright, so that's pretty much how the posts go up. Again, once you get this stair, that's the hard part. Start there and then work your way out. And that's pretty much all I've got to cover. I hope this has helped you. If it has, give me a like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.